In the wilds of Africa on the edge of Botswana's famous Okavango Delta, lived an old man named Samuel Diko. Samuel had served as a ranger in this region for over 50 years, starting from his youth. He had dedicated his life to protecting the area's wildlife from poachers and other threats to their natural habitat. Thanks to his determination and genuine love for nature, the local people regarded him as a living legend. Even after retiring, he would start his old off-road vehicle every morning and head out on volunteer patrols. Young rangers often came to him to learn from his deep knowledge and experience, gaining a true understanding of the wilderness under his guidance. Samuel watched over and protected elephants, lions, leopards, antelopes, and hippos with great care and affection. He paid special attention to the older animals that spent their time in resting areas. Though age had gradually worn down his health, Samuel's passion for nature and sense of responsibility never wavered. Recently, weather conditions in the Okavango Delta had become increasingly harsh. Temperatures were expected to reach 113 degrees Fahrenheit, 45 degrees Celsius. That morning, the sun had already covered the sky early on, flooding every corner of the delta with its scorching light. The sweltering heat had driven many animals to seek refuge beneath the large trees. But Samuel Diko was determined to check on a rhino that had been injured the previous day. In the early morning hours, he set out toward the thicket where the rhino was believed to be recovering. His old off-road vehicle crept slowly through the dry grass and rugged paths. The scorching heat seeped into the cabin, causing beads of sweat to roll down Samuel's forehead. When he arrived at his destination, he stopped the vehicle and stepped out to observe the rhino from a distance. The animal still appeared quite weak. A long wound on its body had yet to heal. Samuel carefully approached to assess its condition. His eyes were filled with deep concern and affection for this massive yet vulnerable creature. Suddenly, a sharp pain struck his chest. The pain spread quickly, causing dizziness and weakening his reflexes. He dropped to his knees and collapsed onto the grass. He was drenched in sweat and his face had turned deathly pale. At the same time, Samuel's younger colleagues, Kwame and Tendai, were tending to a nearby herd of zebras. When they heard a faint call for help, they immediately ran toward the sound without hesitation. When they found Samuel lying motionless on the ground, Kwame immediately checked his pulse. Realizing that his heartbeat was irregular and weak, Tendai frantically reached into his pocket for heart medication. But Samuel had likely forgotten to bring it with him in the rush of the morning. The situation was critical. Without wasting a moment, Kwame radioed the center and requested an emergency ambulance. All activity in the Delta came to a halt as everyone mobilized to help. Soon, a special vehicle arrived and rushed Samuel to the reserve's medical center. Throughout the ride, Kwame kept repeating his name, urging him to keep his eyes open. But Samuel's eyelids slowly began to close and his breathing had become shallow and uneven. As soon as they reached the medical center, the doctors began emergency treatment. Artificial respiration was administered and the defibrillator was activated. The small room was filled with an intense tension. After about 15 minutes, one of the doctors quietly announced that Samuel's heart had stopped some time ago. A deep silence spread through the room. Everyone was in shock. The confirmation that this remarkable life had come to an end was met with overwhelming sorrow. Many staff members rushed to the center upon hearing the news. Their faces were filled with shock and grief. Everyone understood they had lost the spiritual pillar of the reserve. The heartbreaking news was also conveyed to Samuel's family. The entire staff listened with choked voices. According to Samuel's wishes, his funeral would be held within the reserve in the heart of nature in keeping with local traditions. Everyone quickly came together to prepare a ceremony following the local traditions. The next morning, as the sun was just beginning to rise over the horizon, the rangers, staff, and local community gathered in the main courtyard of the reserve. In the center of the courtyard, a simple wooden platform had been placed. Samuel's body lay upon it in peaceful repose. His face looked as though he were in a deep sleep. One by one, people approached to say their goodbyes, their eyes filled with deep longing. Kwame, with a trembling hand, touched Samuel's hand, memories of their time together flooding his mind. Tendai quietly lit an incense stick and whispered a soft prayer. The entire space was filled with an atmosphere of sorrow, but also deep respect. At that moment, an unexpected roar echoed from the gate of the reserve. The crowd instantly tensed and turned toward the sound. They could hardly believe their eyes. A large male lion was slowly approaching. Its majestic stance and piercing gaze captivated everyone. Instinctively, people began to look for places to hide. But the lion simply let out a low growl to announce its presence and showed no signs of aggression. Its gaze was fixed on the wooden platform where Samuel lay. Silently, it moved toward it. No one dared to move or speak. Everyone held their breath, watching this extraordinary scene unfold. The lion circled the platform a few times, then stopped at the foot of it. Lowering its head slightly, it seemed to offer a solemn farewell. This strange and captivating moment deeply moved everyone present. Just then, Kwame noticed a large scar on the lion's side. His eyes widened in recognition. In an instant, he remembered. This was the young male lion that he and Samuel had rescued 15 years ago. Back then, they had received a distress call about a pride of lions caught in a poacher's trap. Samuel and Kwame had bravely gone to the site, removed the trap, and treated this lion's serious wound. Later, the young lion had been nursed back to health in the reserve and released back into the wild. Perhaps from that day on, it had been watching over them from afar. And now, as if sensing Samuel's passing, it had come to pay its final respects. The lion's loyalty and gratitude touched everyone deeply. Kwame slowly and cautiously approached the lion, trying to calm it. Remarkably, the lion simply lowered its head quietly, showing no signs of aggression. Over time, others found the courage to approach and witness this special moment. The initial fear had been replaced by a shared sense of mourning for the old man's passing. After the ceremony in the main courtyard, Samuel's body was carried to a grassy area he had loved the most. The lion followed closely behind the group, walking with heavy steps and letting out deep, sorrowful roars from time to time. The group stopped beneath the shade of a large acacia tree in a spot covered with lush green grass. A quiet grave was dug, and Samuel was gently laid to rest. At that moment, the entire reserve seemed to hold its breath, watching this final farewell. Kwame and Tendai placed a stone engraved with his name at the head of the grave to honor his 50 years of service. The local community also held a traditional prayer ceremony. Everyone offered wishes for Samuel's soul to find eternal peace. The lion stood at the grave with its head bowed for a long time, never taking its eyes off it. Then, as if drawing a deep breath, it let out a powerful roar that echoed across the entire delta. It sounded like the anguished cry of a loyal friend mourning the loss of a beloved benefactor. After standing still for a while longer, the people quietly stepped away, leaving the lion alone in the clearing. As the sun slowly set, the sky turned shades of red, and this moment was forever etched in everyone's memory. Please don't forget to like the video, share it with your loved ones, and subscribe to the channel.